What time is it? Oh, crap. Oh, God. It's time. Uh-huh. Mm-hmm. Oh, God. I love Russia. Oh, God. Mother Russia! Boom! Ah! Ha! It's draw my project. That I lost the paper, so we're gonna have to make do with a screenshot. And we got one take. I don't know where my oh. All right, just in case I screw it up, I better go quick. Hold on, I got it. One thing. It's all you can see. It's just all the papers. All filled it up. Okay. There we go. How's that look? Ah, geez. It's kind of faint. We'll make do, I guess. Here we are. Alright. How do the cultural norms and traditions of this region affect the way we interact with people from this region? And there's a few cultural differences, obviously, but I think they kind of get overplayed in the presentations we've seen so far. So I'm going to downplay them as much as possible here. Except for the last one, which I do think is important. So we've got obviously, like, people dress differently. They're in different climates. They're going to be adept to different circumstances than people in the U.S. This is the one that people like to talk about a lot. Like, ooh, we have similar religions to them, and that might make getting along easier. And it's like, oh gosh, you guys, why would it matter, really? Why would that matter? I can't. Somebody give me a good reason. Whatever. So obviously, just like they're different cultures, basically. People have talked about the handshake a lot, and you got firm hands, and then so that's that. The big one that I think is that it used to be a communist nation. It used to be a communist nation, and then across this arrow of time, they became semi-presidential because communism wasn't really working out for them so well. Ironically, capitalism hasn't been working for them so well either, but that's irrelevant. All right, get out of here. So now on the next question, and oh boy, is that a paragraph. How has conflict with the outside world and with each other shaped the political region of Russia and the Slavic nations? Oh boy, don't I just sound smart saying those words? All right. What do we got? We got, talking about, oh yeah, how big it is. So look at that border. Look at that size of Russia. Yeah, it looks kind of like Russia. Oh, heck. Jeez. Okay, so this is definitely the only take. We've got, yeah, so the border is obviously very big, and when you have a, yeah, it's dead. And when you have a border that large and you have, you have to do diplomatic relations with so many countries, things are probably going to get tense at some point, especially if you have such a checkered, military history like Russia does. So given that, there is obviously going to be some conflict with the outside world. All right. Oh, I know what this is. This is also talking about size. This is very fortunate. I had just interpreted this as I saw it. This is referring to the multiple time zones that the Russia exists in. Those were drawing the time zones, and those are, so you got 9 different times, 9 different 1208s, 1208 times 9. I seriously, I had no idea until right now. And that's another part in difficulty contrling. Ugh, my knees hurt. I gotta change. Dominoes. I have to change the way I was sitting for a second. Okay. What do we got? World War II. World War II was another big thing in Russia's past. We worked with them in that, and it helped shape the political regions because, the more involved you are with the U.S., the more likely you are to switch to a similar government system, I believe, as far as the past relations have gone. So there's that. Yeah, all those military conflicts, which is actually going to be coming back up. This is when I took over for art. Obviously, it's, well, okay, I won't brag about it. It's nothing to be happy about. All right, first, how has the history of this region affected the way our government interacts with the countries of the region? Okay, yeah, the history of the region. So I'm going to go into some of the things that the history entails. First off, it's the Cold War. That was a bigger recent thing. See here, Burr. It's cold. Guy with, well, it was supposed to be a parka. In retrospect, it looks a little bit more like an afro or some large ears or something. Okay, wowie, it's cold. Wowie. That, World War, that looks a little too similar. Freak, whoa. Okay, so the Cold War was a big thing that obviously will impact how we see them. They're a nuclear power, and that sort of was what provoked the U.S. to become one as well, the Cold War, and it was just sort of the arms race. We were very much worried about that, so that sort of impacted the way we have to deal with them. Just considering their nuclear power. We'll get back into that in a minute. Okay, World War II. World War II, again, we worked with them on, we were on the same side, we were on the Allied powers in World War II, so that was obviously a little team bonding experience. Oh, I gotta get a better grip. Seriously. Well, it's not that serious. So, yes, our partnership in World War II led to friendlier relations in the future, but, we disagree with some of their politics, so obviously you have to take that into consideration. And then you have the current election with the meddling, because Emily doesn't know how to spell. Oh, sneaky sneak. Okay. Yeah, so the meddling in the recent election is obviously going to shade how we view interactions with them in the future. That's gonna be a big deal. I'm trying to. Oh shoot! I was trying to use a shoe. That's my prop. All right. What recent events in Russia and the Slavic nations have had the greatest global impact? Okay, so what is that? What is the greatest global impact? Yeah, I can just answer that question. I got pictures here. All right, the doping scandal at the Olympics had a pretty big effect. They weren't allowed to compete. Olympic athletes from Russia had to have a weird name and operate under the Olympic flag. And if you haven't noticed, this is a really neat visual pun. See, it's like a triple joke. I'll explain joke one. Joke one is that I'm laughing at dope scandal, man. I'm laughing at the doping scandal, which is funny because that's serious. Don't laugh at that. Second part is that dope can mean the weed. So I put some pictures of the weed. And that's second joke. Third joke would be the fact that dope is also a drug, right? So you got the weed, the doping, the dope, and the laughing at the dope. So that's 3 jokes all in one right there. Another reason. I'm so sorry, guys. I wasn't meaning to cut, but I also had to. My phone ran out of storage, so no problem solved. All right. So the next most recent scandal thing we got to consider is the meddling. Oh, the meddling. We got to consider that. We got to consider the election meddling. That's had a pretty big global impact because obviously whoever's the president of the United States is going to be making some pretty important decisions. And another really recent thing that was kind of cool, well, cool if you're Russian, was that Russia talked about the new nuclear program and how it's been successful, and they've got all these weapons that could override the U.S. I don't really know where experts stand on that, like whether or not it's legitimate, but either way, we've sort of got to consider that whenever we're dealing with them. So here I drew a large rocket. It's blasting off, and up here you can see a little Putin man. He doesn't look like Putin. Putin has facial features, but the point is that somebody's on the missile, and honestly, it's a bad plan. That's just the facts. But if I had to pick somebody to get on top of a rocket, no, okay, we're gonna run away from that topic. All right, so yeah, that was Russia. Slovia. Yes, I destroyed the tape. What do you mean? No, there's no need to come over. What do you mean I said Putin should get on a rocket? I don't know what you're talking about. No, don't come over. Bring. Oh God, no, don't hit me. Slovia. Oh, Mother Russia.